Hi YouTube! I am here to do a review on the Real Techniques brushes. These are sold at Ulta. I don't know that they're sold anywhere else. I know that they are sold at Ulta. First, I just want to say that brushes are really important. I think that there are a lot of off-brand brushes that you can buy that just aren't the best quality, and I think in other areas of makeup you can get away with less quality products, like maybe a cheaper eyeshadow or something like that, or an eyeliner, and make it work. Brushes to me are totally different. I have bought so many off-brand brushes because I cannot bring myself to spend the money on the more expensive high-end name brand brushes. Even though, a lot of argument in that is that you're using those brushes over and over and over again. It's not like makeup where you spend 30 bucks on a foundation, run out of it, and you spend 30 bucks again. If you spend 30 bucks on a brush, that brush it's made its $30 because you're going to use it again and again and again, and you don't necessarily have to replace it. So if you're willing to spend the money on a high-end brush, good for you. I'm not knocking that. This is just me and what I can afford, and I want decent quality brushes, because if anybody has used a brittle or not soft brush, you know what I'm talking about. It leaves not a smooth blended finish, especially if you're using it on like in a blush or a powder. It doesn't look right, and it's not good for your skin either. If you have a really rough bristled brush, it doesn't feel good on your skin. It's not applying the product properly, and it's all around just not good. So I've been on a search for affordable, really soft, good quality bristled brushes, and I have found them. I mean it. I'm telling you, I've been through so many brands of brushes. I'm not here to knock brands, but I'm here to tell you a good review on a good brand. The brand is called Real Techniques. It is by a makeup artist. Her name is Samantha Chapman. I've never heard of her before, but she is the creator of this line of brushes. She's a professional makeup artist, and she came out with this line of brushes. Like I said, I believe the only place that they're sold is Ulta. I have quite a few of her brushes, and I'm going to go over what I have and what I use them for. The first brush that I bought of hers was the powder brush. This looks, I don't know how big that looks to you guys, but it is pretty fat. You can see on my cheek, it takes up like the whole side of my cheek. I love this brush. This is a great brush to apply a translucent powder or even a powder foundation. I prefer a smaller brush when I'm using my powder foundation, just so I can get in the nooks and crannies like around my nose, and I can't really do that with this. I also really like this brush to blend everything in. Once I put my blush and highlight on my cheek, I like to go over it, because these are really soft brushes. But that's what I like to use this brush primarily for, either to put a coat of powder all over or to blend in my blush and highlight. They each have, they're not numbered like a lot of Sigma or MAC brushes. They have a little name. You can't see it because it's so blinded out by this camera light, but there's little names right here, and this one is called Powder Brush, or the Powder Brush. The other thing I really like about these brushes is that they're flat on the bottom, so they can stand up. I'm not going to do it on my hand because it won't, but you can balance these on top, just on top of your counter while you're using them. I keep mine in a little cup, but it is really nice to have them sit. The next brush that I bought of hers is the blush brush, and it says blush brush right there. I really like this brush. I'm pretty sure all of her brushes are dual fibered brushes, which is, I'm sure you guys know this, but for people who don't, it's the darker black. It's a different bristle than the top, and it kind of fades into this lighter white, very soft bristles on top. This is her blush brush. I really like this because it's so fluffy on top, and I think when you're applying your blush, you want it to feel really fluffy and light, and just kind of be able to maneuver that curve of your cheek. And this is a really great style blush brush. I know a lot of blush brushes are angled. I do like those brushes, but I tend to like this one better because it is so narrow right here at the very top that if you want to be really precise about where you put it, you can do that. And then I like to use the side to kind of blend it in. I really like this brush. Again, it's called the blush brush. The next brush that I bought from Real Techniques is their stippling brush, and it says stippling brush. I'm so sad you can't see that, but it does say it. Oh, maybe you can. It says stippling brush. Also a dual fiber brush. I saw so many different types of stippling brushes, some bigger than this, as far as how fat they are. This isn't a very dense stippling brush. I know some other stippling brushes tend to be a little bit more dense. This one's not. It's really, really fine and thin at the top. I like this stippling brush because I tend to, when I'm either applying powder or liquid foundation, I like it to be smaller, and I'll repeat myself so that I can get into those nooks and crannies around my nose or under my eyes. And that's my biggest reason for going with a smaller stippling brush. A fatter one probably is nice to do, bigger areas like that, but who wants to switch, to 2 stippling brushes while they're putting on their foundation? So I just tend to go for a smaller stippling brush, but I really, really like this brush. This is the Real Techniques Core Collection. I'm sorry. It's so hard for you to see. See how it says Core Collection, right? I'm sorry, oh my gosh. There. And it comes with this little standing case. I don't use it because I keep them in my little cup, and then on the back it shows you, what each brush is designed for, which I really, really like, just for people who are maybe just starting out using brushes. It tells you what they're used for. The first brush I want to talk to you guys about in this collection is it's called the buffing brush. I talked about this a little bit in my powder foundation video. I love this brush. This is the best brush, in my opinion, for applying a powder foundation. It's really similar to a stippling brush in the dual fiber, way that it's made, but this one is more dense. I feel like the original stippling brush is a lot thinner at the top, and you can tell by the way that looks, but they're almost the same shape and size. But this brush is excellent for applying a powder foundation. I know that she's calling it a buffing brush, and it's she says that it's ideal for full coverage application of powder and mineral foundations, and so that's exactly what I use it for, and I love it. It works really, really well. I, again, like the small size so that I can get into those little areas. It's almost like a mini version of this. It's almost identical, and that's what I meant when I was talking about this one and saying that this was probably great to apply like a powder, but it's just so big. That's why I like this. And the next brush that came in this core collection, where are the brushes? I'm sorry, you guys, is the pointed foundation brush. This, though, to me is amazing to apply concealer. I love this brush for concealer. I'll pump the concealer on my hand, blend it under the brush, and apply it under my eyes and around my nose where you have redness, and use it to like conceal, blemishes and things like that. This is an amazing brush for using concealer. Even though it is called a foundation brush or a pointed foundation brush, it's essentially doing the same thing. I just use it as my concealer brush, and it works really, really well for that. So the next brush in her collection is her contour brush. If you guys don't know what contouring is, there's tons of tutorials out there on it. People contour this area of the cheek with a darker color, darker powder, to narrow this area of your face and make your cheekbones stick out. I also use this. I don't contour my face all the time unless I know I'm going to be taking pictures or something like that. But I do love the way contouring looks, but it's a little high maintenance to do all the time. But when I do contour my face, I do use this as a contour because it works really well for it. But I love to use this as a highlight. I put my highlight right here on my cheekbones, and I also love this to apply powder underneath my eyes. Because I have such oily skin, my mascara always wants to run underneath my eyes, and so I'll always apply like its own special layer of powder underneath my eyes. And this brush is just, it's like it's so perfectly shaped to sweep underneath your eyes. Even though it's made as a contour brush, I use this underneath my eyes a lot more than I use it to contour, and it's a great, great brush. Again, very soft, really, really well made. Love these brushes. The last brush that I'm going to talk about in this little core collection that I bought is the detailer brush. It says it's precision cut to effortlessly conceal problem areas or use for lipstick. That's what I love about her stuff. That it says one thing on the brush, like, oh, this is a buffing brush, or oh, this is a concealer brush, or a foundation brush. But you can use it to do so many things because the shapes are so versatile. I personally use this to apply the light white or highlight colors in the corner of my eyes because it is so perfectly shaped to do that. You could also use this as a really tiny concealer brush to dot those little areas. I think it would be perfect for both. This is really tiny. I don't know if you can really tell how tiny that is on camera, but it's skinnier than a pencil. It's really, really small, and that's what it looks like. It's just really tiny. I should be doing this, I guess, because people can see that a little bit better, but it's a great brush. All of her stuff has been really, really awesome. She sells another core collection that I think is made for the eyes. I haven't bought that yet because I have some other eye brushes that I've bought. I'm sure hers are better quality than mine. So I probably will be buying that soon. And I also wanted to let you guys know that, you know, this is 4 brushes, in this core collection, and this was $15.99. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I saw one powder brush, I will not name brands, but I saw one powder brush for $18, and then I saw another one for $32, and I just couldn't handle myself. These brushes are such good quality. I've used MAC brushes, I've used Sigma brushes, and not because I bought them, because I already claimed that I didn't buy them, but my girlfriend who's a makeup artist always hands me down her old brushes, and they do work great, but I think these are quite comparable. If anything, these are almost softer. I mean it. And when I clean these, they don't shed. And I'm an avid cleaner because I'm kind of a germaphobe when it comes to using things onto my face. And I clean these constantly, and they have not shed or misshapen at all. These are amazing brushes. I would highly, highly recommend, if you don't want to spend a lot of money on brushes, to go to Ulta and check out the Real Techniques brushes. Again, like I talked about, you know, these... this is the stippling, this is the blush brush, and this is the powder brush, are all sold separately in their own packages, but she does sell some core collections, and I bought the face core collections, the kind that is meant for your, or she calls it your base for a flawless core collection. I wanted to do a review on this because I looked everywhere after I bought these and realized how amazing they were. I looked everywhere for tutorials and reviews on them, and nobody seemed to talk about them. I saw 1 or 2 reviews on MakeupAlley.com about these brushes, and they were both really, really positive, but that was after I bought them. So I wanted to make sure I did a review on YouTube about them because I know a lot of people come on YouTube to look for reviews about makeup products, and I really want to get her name out there because I think she's done a great job on these brushes. They really are good quality, really soft brushes, a good design, and just really practical. And so highly, highly recommend them. Go to your Ulta, check them out. I know that my Ulta doesn't always carry everything, and I went back twice to look for the stippling brush before they actually had it in stock, so I don't know if you come across that or if that's just my Ulta, but check again. And if not, you know, if you're brave enough hearing such a good review about them to order them online, you know, I'm not normally somebody who purchases online because I want to see the product and check it out before I buy it, but these are really awesome. And if you feel confident enough to get them online and they don't have them in your Ulta store, I would do it. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. I'm not sure what tutorial or review I'm going to be doing next, but I will be checking for any requests like I talked about in the first or second video that I made, that I'm not so big on doing tutorials. I mean, I know how to do a couple things, but I think more of my knowledge is just on just doing what's best for your skin and things like that. That's just me being modest. I watch so many of these tutorials and think these girls are so amazing that if I did a tutorial, I'd be laughed at. But if you guys do request a tutorial like how to apply my powder foundation and things like that, I'd be happy to do it. I'm just going to wait to be requested to do that because I don't want to waste my time or anybody else's time making some tutorial that nobody cares about. So again, I know everybody is going to have their own opinion about what works best for them and what products are better, and that's okay. This is just my opinion and what I found and what works for me, and if it helps one person to go out and buy the product and they're happy with it, then that's my goal. So hopefully this has been helpful for you guys, and I'll make another video soon. So until then.